The battle raged for hours. Vex adaptability met Council determination bolstered by human unpredictability. Ships exploded into silent fireballs. Rescue vessels darted between the fighting to save crews from damaged ships. Then, disaster struck. The Vex flagship launched a new weapon, a massive energy wave that disabled shields across a huge area. Captain Soyon's stubborn resolve was caught in the blast, its systems failing. "Stubborn resolve is hit," came the urgent report. "Life. Support failing. Hull breach on multiple decks." Admiral Do-hoon made a quick decision. "Divert shield power to my ship, we're going in." His officers looked shocked. "Sir, that's against all protocols. Flagship commanders don't—" "I've learned from Captain Soyon that sometimes you break the rules," Do-hoon cut in. "Especially when your allies need you." Do-hoon's vessel plunged toward the disabled human ship using maneuvers he had learned from watching Soyon. His crew, trained in traditional tactics, struggled to keep up with his rapid commands. "Like the humans do it," he reminded them. "Unpredictable movements. Keep the Vex guessing." They reached the crippled human vessel and extended emergency docking tubes. Rescue teams rushed aboard to evacuate the crew while Do-hoon's ship provided covering fire. Captain Soyon was the last to leave her ship. She arrived on Do-hoon's bridge, injured but standing. "You risked your flagship," she said with surprise. "That's not Council doctrine." "No," Do-hoon agreed. "It's human doctrine. And today, we are all a little bit human." The tide of battle turned when the combined fleet executed their final strategy. Using technology from 6 different species, enhanced by human modifications, they created a gravity pulse that trapped the Vex fleet in normal space, preventing retreat. When it was over, the Vex Dominion had suffered its greatest defeat. Their main fleet was broken, their leadership in disarray. 3 weeks later, in the Grand Council chamber, representatives from all species gathered to witness something unprecedented, a peace treaty with the Vex Dominion. As Minho watched humans and aliens working together to forge this new future, he turned to his assistant Ji-woo. "They've changed us," he said quietly, "in ways both wonderful and terrifying." "Yes," she agreed. "And I think we've changed them too. They've learned restraint from us, while we've learned boldness from them." Minho looked around the chamber. The galaxy had entered a new era, one where humanity's contradictions had become the Council's greatest strength. For centuries. Now, after a 10-minute treatment, the patient stood up without pain for the first time in years. "Amazing," Minho said. "Your medical advances have saved millions already." Jinwoo smiled. "We've always put a lot of effort into medicine. When you have a short lifespan like humans, you get motivated to extend it." Later that same day, Minho visited the military development sector. The mood there was very different. General Yuna, a stern-faced human with sharp eyes, was demonstrating new weapons to Council military officers. "This drone system can penetrate any known shield technology," she explained as small flying devices moved through a series of barrier tests. "They adapt to the energy signature and create microscopic holes to slip through. And once inside," asked a Council security chief, "they can disable ship systems, deploy targeted electromagnetic pulses, or deliver explosive payloads," Yuna said matter-of-factly. "They're nearly impossible to detect until it's too late." Minho felt a chill watching the demonstration. The weapons were too effective, too clever. Even some Council military leaders looked uncomfortable. That evening, Minho met with his assistant, Ji-woo, in his private office. "They're simultaneously our greatest hope and our greatest concern," Minho confided as he looked out the window at the stars. "Their creativity seems boundless in both directions. Their medical technology has changed healthcare forever," Ji-woo agreed. "But their weapons could change warfare forever," Minho finished. "And not necessarily for the better." A week later, news arrived that shocked the entire Council. Human diplomats, led by Hana, had made contact with a faction of the Vex Dominion. Even more surprisingly, this faction had agreed to peace talks. The Council chamber was filled to capacity when Hana made her report. Her face showed both pride and caution. "The Vex are not a single mind as we once thought," she explained. The group we call the Sundered Vex have different beliefs than the main Dominion. They're willing to consider peaceful coexistence. This is unprecedented, Counselor Taeyong said. In 1,000 years, no one has successfully negotiated with any Vex group. We found common ground, Hana said. They respect strength and survival. Humans have demonstrated both. 3 months later, Minho received alarming reports. A human trading vessel had been attacked near the border regions. The attackers used AIM tactics identical to those taught by human military advisors but with Vex technology. An emergency council session was called. Counselor Yunji, representing the border worlds, was furious. "You've armed our enemies," she accused, pointing at Hana. "The Sundered Vex have taken your tactics and technology and used them against us." Hana remained calm. "We shared diplomatic and cultural information, not military secrets." "Yet somehow they now fight like humans," Yunji countered. "With human unpredictability but Vex power." "We've opened a dialogue," Hana argued. "For the first time in your history, part of the Vex Dominion is willing to talk instead of conquer. That's progress. Progress that may destroy us all," Yunji retorted. After the session, Minho met privately with human ambassador Suho. The ambassador's office was simple but comfortable, with plants from Earth decorating the shelves. "Your people move very quickly," Minho said. "Perhaps too quickly sometimes," Suho nodded. "It's our nature. We see problems, we try to solve them. But every solution seems to create new problems," Minho observed. "Your medical technology saves lives, but your military technology takes them. You make peace with one Vex faction, but that faction becomes more dangerous." "The galaxy is changing," Suho said. "Change always brings risk. The Council has existed for 10,000 years by moving carefully," Minho reminded him. "Humans have been in space for less than 2 centuries, Suho smiled slightly. "And look how far we've come in that time." As Minho left the meeting, he received an urgent message. The main Vex Dominion had launched a massive fleet toward Council space. Intelligence suggested they had learned of the peace talks with the Sundered Vex and were determined to stop any alliance. "The double edge of human involvement cuts again," Minho whispered to himself. "Now we must hope their good innovations outweigh their dangerous ones." The main Vex fleet arrived at the edge of Council space with over 1,000 warships. Their black vessels blocked out the stars like an advancing storm. This was not just another attack. It was an attempt to end the Galactic Council forever. Counselor Minho stood in the Emergency Command Center, surrounded by representatives from every major Council species. For the first time in history, even the peaceful races had sent warriors. "The Vex will reach the Centauri Gateway in 14 hours, reported the tactical officer. "If they capture that point, they can strike at our core worlds." "How many ships do we have?" asked Counselor Yunji. 800 Council vessels and about 70 human ships," came the reply. "We're outnumbered." Admiral Dohun, who had led the successful defense at Plethorian, studied the tactical display. "Numbers aren't everything. We've learned much from our human allies." Indeed, the Council military had changed dramatically in the past year. Species that once relied solely on their traditional fighting methods now combined them with human tactics. The rigid battle formations had given way to more flexible approaches. Captain Soyeon of the human fleet joined the meeting via hologram. Her ship, Stubborn Resolve, led the forward scout group tracking the Vex advance. "We've analyzed their formation," she reported. "They're using a new shield configuration that adapts to our weapons. They've learned from their defeats." "Have they found a counter to your star manipulation technique?" Dohun asked. "Yes. They're staying away from all stars and using jump points in deep space," Soyeon confirmed. "They're learning just as we are." The planning session lasted for hours. Unlike previous Council war councils, there was no arguing about whose battle doctrine to follow. Instead, each species offered what they did best, creating a battle plan that combined all their strengths. The Aurelians would provide main battle strength. The swift Plethorian ships would run interference. Human vessels would deploy their special weapons at key points. Even the peaceful Terex, known for their healing abilities, volunteered medical ships. When the Vex fleet arrived at Centauri Gateway, they found not a traditional defense line, but a complex, multi-layered formation, unlike anything they had faced before. The battle began with a feint. Small, fast ships darted forward, drawing Vex fire. When the Vex committed to pursuit, the real attack came from an unexpected direction. Council ships emerged from behind nearby moons and asteroids, striking from angles the Vex hadn't protected. On the bridge of his flagship, Admiral Dohun coordinated the complex dance of ships. Squadron 7, execute Pattern Sigma. Human Group 2, deploy quantum disruptors on my mark. The Council called for a brief recess. When they returned, tension filled the air. We will need to see detailed specifications of your wormhole drive technology before making a decision, Minho said. Suho shook his head. I'm authorized to show basic principles now, but full technical data comes with membership. That's our best protection. Counselor Hyun laughed, a harsh sound. You don't trust us, yet you ask for our trust? Trust is earned, Suho replied calmly. But time is short. The Vex are preparing a major offensive. Our intelligence suggests they will strike the Plethorian systems within 60 days. This caused an uproar. The Plethorians were ancient council members with rich worlds. How could you know this? Demanded the Plethorian representative. We captured a Vex scout ship, Suho explained. Our linguists partially decoded their communication signals. Minho called for order. This is a serious claim, Ambassador. If true, it is true, Suho said. And we have a plan to stop them, but we need council resources to implement it. Grant us provisional membership, and we'll share everything we know. After hours of debate, the council reached a decision. They would grant Earth provisional membership for 1 year. If the humans proved their value and their intelligence was correct, full membership would follow. As Suho left the chamber, Counselor Minho approached him privately. I hope you understand what you've done, Minho said quietly. You've changed the balance of power in the galaxy. Suho nodded. That was always going to happen. The Vex made sure of that when they attacked us. Now we just have to make sure the balance tips in our favor. The combined fleet of the Galactic Council gathered at the edge of the Plethorian system. Over 200 warships formed a defensive line around the inhabited planets. Massive battleships, with planet-killing weapons, floated alongside sleek cruisers armed with energy cannons. Admiral Dohun stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Guardian, studying the tactical display. His forearms moved quickly across the controls as he reviewed the defense plan one final time. The Vex fleet will arrive in approximately 6 hours, his second-in-command reported. Their numbers are greater than we anticipated. At least 300 vessels. Dohun's face darkened. We're outnumbered. Even with our position, this will be difficult. A communication officer interrupted. Admiral, the human contingent has arrived. Outside the viewports, 5 human ships appeared. They were smaller than council vessels and looked almost primitive, compared to the sleek alien designs. The lead ship, Stubborn Resolve, requested permission to dock with the flagship. Granted, Dohun said reluctantly. He still didn't fully trust these newcomers. Captain Soyeon of the human fleet arrived on the bridge 30 minutes later. She was shorter than most of the alien officers, but walked with confident steps. Her uniform was simple, with fewer decorations than her council counterparts. Captain Soyeon reporting as requested, Admiral, she said with a quick bow. Dohun gestured to the tactical display. The situation is worse than expected. The Vex have brought nearly their entire battle fleet. Soyeon studied the display, her eyes narrowing. May I speak freely, Admiral? Proceed. Your current defense formation will fail, she said bluntly. The Vex use quantum-entangled targeting systems. They'll cut through your lines before you can respond. Several council officers bristled at her words, but Dohun raised a hand for silence. What do you suggest instead, Captain? Soyeon touched the display, zooming in on the system's star. We can use the star against them. Explain, Dohun demanded. We position ships here near the solar corona, she indicated a point dangerously, close to the blazing star. We use specialized devices to create a controlled disturbance in the star's magnetic field. You want to collapse a star? Do-hoon asked incredulously. That's your tactical solution? Not collapse it, Soyeon clarified. Just destabilize its outer layers enough to create a coronal mass ejection aimed at the Vex arrival point. The radiation will disrupt their quantum targeting systems for approximately 12 minutes. The bridge fell silent. What she proposed was either brilliant or suicidal. That's impossible, said a Plethorian science officer. The energy required would be enormous, and the precision needed. We've done it before, Soyeon said simply. It worked against the Vex at Proxima Centauri. Do-hoon studied her face. You would risk your ships near the star? My ships are designed to withstand higher radiation levels than yours, she explained. We'll deploy the devices, then move to safety. After tense discussion, Do-hoon agreed to the plan. The human ships moved toward the star while the Council fleet prepared for the moment of opportunity. Hours later, the Vex fleet arrived exactly where predicted. Their black ships, shaped like jagged knives, cut through space in perfect formation. Their weapons powered up, targeting the Council's defenses. At that moment, the star erupted. A massive wave of plasma and radiation burst outward, washing over the Vex fleet. Just as Soyeon had predicted, the enemy ships began moving erratically. Their perfect formation broke apart as their targeting systems failed. All ships attack now, Do-hoon ordered. The Council fleet surged forward. For the first time ever, they caught the Vex unprepared. Energy weapons tore through enemy shields. Missiles found their targets. The smaller human vessels darted between. Larger Vex ships placing explosive devices at critical points. On the Eternal Guardian, Do-hoon watched in amazement as the battle unfolded. The Vex were falling back, something he had never seen before. Captain Soyeon's voice came over the communication system. Admiral, the stubborn Resolve is targeting their command ship. Request permission to deploy our special package. Granted, Do-hoon replied. What are you planning? Just watch, she said. The stubborn Resolve accelerated toward the largest Vex vessel. It released what looked like a small shuttle that attached to the enemy ship's hull. Moments later, the Vex command ship's engines died. Its weapons went silent. What did you do? Do-hoon asked in disbelief. Quantum field disruptor, Soyeon explained. It creates a bubble where advanced technology simply stops working. They're helpless now. Within hours, the battle was over. The Vex fleet retreated, leaving behind dozens of destroyed ships. It was the first major defeat of the Vex in Council history. As Council officers celebrated, Do-hoon approached Soyeon. Your tactics were unorthodox, but effective. Soyeon smiled slightly. Humans have always been good at finding unconventional solutions to impossible problems. That's why we survive. Do-hoon nodded slowly. I begin to understand why the Council accepted your species so quickly. You fight like nothing we've ever seen. 6 months after the great victory at Plethorian, humans had spread throughout Council space. Their ships could be seen at every major station. Their technology and ideas changed everything they touched. Counselor Minho walked through the new medical center on Central Station. Dr. Jinwoo, a human scientist with kind eyes and skilled hands, was showing him the latest breakthrough. This device can repair cellular damage at the genetic level, Dr. Jinwoo explained, holding up a small silver tool. It can cure diseases that have plagued Council species for thousands of years. Minho watched as Jinwoo demonstrated on a patient from the Pteryx species. The Pteryx had suffered from a degenerative bone condition. The Galactic Council had existed for nearly 10,000 years. Hundreds of species from across the stars lived together in peace. Counselor Minho, with his blue skin and 4 eyes, led the Council's first contact division. One day, Minho received strange reports. A new species called humans had developed faster than light travel using impossible methods. He didn't believe it at first. These reports must be wrong, Minho told his assistant Jiwoo, who had scales instead of skin. No primitive species can develop wormhole technology. It takes centuries of advancement. Jiwoo placed a data tablet on Minho's desk. Please just look at the recording, sir. The screen showed a small, oddly shaped spacecraft approaching the Council's border station. It moved too fast, made sharp turns that should have torn it apart, and left strange energy signatures behind. What kind of engines are those? Minho asked, leaning closer. That's the problem, Jiwoo said. Our scientists don't understand how they work. The humans somehow bend space using minimal energy. 3 days later, the human ship named Persistent Hope arrived at Epsilon Station. It looked like it was built from scrap metal. Patches covered its hull and parts didn't match. Yet it moved with perfect precision. Minho and Jiwoo watched from the observation deck as the ship docked. The airlock opened, and humans walked out. They looked similar to several Council species but had no special features. No wings, tentacles, or extra limbs, just 2 arms, 2 legs, and round heads with hair. They look so ordinary, Jiwoo whispered. The human leader, Captain Minjin, approached them with a smile. He wore a simple uniform with colorful patches. Greetings from Earth, he said through a translator device. We come in peace and friendship. Minho followed protocol. Welcome to Council Space. We are surprised by your arrival. Your technology is unexpected, Minjin laughed. We hear that a lot. Our ship isn't pretty, but she gets the job done. We build things differently than most species. Later, in the station's meeting room, the humans explained their history. They had faced many disasters on their home planet. Wars, climate changes, and resource shortages had forced them to develop creative solutions. Necessity drives innovation, explained scientist Yuna, showing diagrams of their wormhole drive. When conventional methods failed, we tried unconventional ones. The Council's top scientist, Dr. Toru, studied the diagrams with growing shock. This shouldn't work. You're ignoring basic laws of physics. We're not ignoring them, Yuna said, with a smile. We're just persuading them to be more flexible. As the meeting continued, sensors detected a Vex scout ship approaching the station. The Vex were dangerous predators who attacked weaker species. Everyone tensed. They shouldn't be in this sector, Minho said, checking the security feeds. Our defense systems aren't fully activated. To everyone's surprise, Captain Minjin looked calm. May I offer assistance? Without waiting for permission, he contacted his ship. Persistent Hope, deploy countermeasures pattern Delta. The human ship released small drones that surrounded the station. They emitted energy pulses that confused the Vex ship's sensors. The Vex vessel turned around and fled. What did you do? Jiwoo asked. Simple electronic warfare, Minjun explained. We've encountered the Vex before. They attacked our colony on Proxima B. This news shocked the Council members. The Vex destroyed everything in their path. You fought the Vex and survived? Minho couldn't believe it. We did more than survive, said Minjun. We drove them back, but they'll return with more ships. That's partly why we're here. Later that evening, Minho filed his report to the full Council. Humans were unlike any species they had encountered before. They built improbable technology. They fought impossible battles. And now they wanted to join the Galactic Council. Do you think we should trust them? Jiwoo asked as they watched the human ship through the station window. Minho considered carefully. They're dangerous, unpredictable, and their technology makes no sense. But they fought the Vex and won. Perhaps we need allies like them. The next day, Ambassador Suho arrived from Earth to formally request Council membership. The galaxy would never be the same again. The Great Council chamber was filled with representatives from 300 alien species, tall, short, scaly, feathered, tentacled. All watched as Ambassador Suho of Earth walked to the center of the floor. He looked small compared to many of the aliens, but his steps were confident. Counselor Minho stood at the high podium. The Council recognizes Earth's Ambassador Suho. You may present your case for membership. Suho bowed slightly. Thank you, Counselor. Earth and our 17 colony worlds seek to join the Galactic Council as full members. In exchange, we offer our faster-than-light technology and ship designs. Murmurs filled the chamber. Most new species took centuries to earn membership. They usually started as protected worlds, then became associate members after proving themselves. This is highly unusual, said Counselor Tai Yong, a tall being with 6 arms. Your species has only recently achieved space travel. The normal process takes time. Suho nodded. Under normal circumstances, I would agree. But these are not normal times. The Vex Dominion has attacked 3 of our outer colonies in the past year. The chamber went silent. The Vex were the most feared predators in the galaxy. They consumed everything in their path: resources, technology, even people. The Vex do not attack without conquering, said Counselor Jin, whose crystalline body sparkled under the lights. Your colonies still exist? They do, Suho said. We've repelled each attack, but at great cost. Our resources are stretched thin. Counselor Hyun from the Aurelian Confederation stood up. Unlike most council members, the Aurelians were warriors. You expect us to believe a newly spacefaring species defeated Vex warships? With what weapons? Suho tapped his wrist device and a hologram appeared. It showed human ships, much smaller than Vex vessels, darting between the massive enemy ships. They moved in unpredictable patterns, firing weapons that seemed to bend around Vex shields. We improvise, Suho explained. Humans have a long history of fighting against superior forces. We call it asymmetric warfare. The hologram showed a human ship flying directly into a Vex cruiser's path, then suddenly dropping small objects before jumping away. When the Vex ship passed through that space, the objects exploded, creating an energy field that disabled its engines. Mines with artificial gravity generators, Suho said. They create temporary dead zones where no technology works. Counselor, Minho leaned forward. These tactics, they're unlike anything in our defense protocols. That's the point, Suho replied. The Vex have fought against Council forces for centuries. They know your tactics. They don't know ours. The Council members whispered among themselves. Ambassador Suho waited patiently. Finally, Counselor Sina of the Trade World spoke. Your technology would be valuable, but Council membership includes benefits, protection, trade rights, technology sharing. What you ask is unprecedented. The Vex are moving, Suho said firmly. Not just against us, but along your outer territories as well. Your long-range scans must show this. They're preparing something big. Minho nodded reluctantly. Our border outposts have reported increased Vex activity. We can help each other, Suho continued. You have numbers and established defenses. We have new technology and strategies the Vex haven't encountered.